Three, two, one.
This is episode 24 of DJ Talks. My name is Johnny.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan.
And Merry Christmas, guys. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean we're not going to upload. It's kind of weird that the holidays are on Mondays this year, but hey, man, you're still going to get your weekly dose of DJ Talks during the holiday season.
3-day weekend, plus at the end, you get some of us. So, what better Christmas present than that, right? Our
Hell
beautiful
yeah.
faces.
Hey, man, I think that's pretty
voices. There you go. There you go. All right.
good. Wait, do you not get Friday off, Dan?
No, I don't get Friday off.
Oh, okay. Because I heard that like usually companies will give like Christmas Eve and Christmas off if it's like during the week randomly. But because like Christmas is on a Monday this year, I know like some places were giving Fridays off, some weren't. People would just take it off. I don't know.
Yeah, I took the like a week and a half ago off, so I literally took a week off. We don't have Christmas Eve off, so
hmm
I mean,
So you never choose to have Christmas
need
Eve off?
it, right? You don't really need it. What are you gonna do during Christmas Eve? It's mostly Christmas Day that you're actually doing something. New Year's Eve though, that's when it. No, even New Year's Eve, you're not doing anything until nighttime anyways. So
Yeah. I mean, don't they have like the festival and shit too? Like the big parade in Chicago or something?
dude, I don't know, man. I don't know anything about Chicago. Please.
I used to watch the
Uh,
parade with my parents, like on TV, but that was always like New Year's Day. I don't
Yeah.
know what they would do. New Year's Eve was always just the countdowns that you watch on like TV, unless you like go out and stuff. So
I just know that Thanksgiving always had. That's the only one that I actually physically have seen and heard of. So
hmm
New Year's Eve. Oh, they have a huge celebration.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh man.
Yeah, Christmas is always like you celebrate the holidays with your family, and then New Year's is like you could do whatever. But then even then, I know people that like celebrate Christmas with like their friends and like their friends' families and stuff. So it's like
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess one of those holidays have to be with family. One of them have to be with friends.
yeah.
At least see your family once.
hmm I feel like you and I are getting to the age though where people are less and less likely to spend holidays at home, and they might spend it with like their significant others. Or like one of my coworkers, I know like he's doing the exact opposite, and he's spending like like 2 days before Christmas to like one side of his family, and then the
Mhm.
day before Christmas with someone else, and then Christmas Day he'll be with like a different part of his family, like or maybe his girlfriend's family or something. So like I feel like it's super kind of back and forth, or like it changes, like in your 20s, who you're going to be spending time with and what the holidays look like. I don't
Yeah,
know. What do you
yeah.
think?
Look, there are 3 holidays within a matter of 2 months. So one of those, I feel like at our age, especially, I mean, we can bounce between different families, different friends, different people. I just feel like you have to separate a little bit. Yeah, you keep in touch with your family, keep in touch with your parents, and keep in touch with everybody, just in case.
hmm
It's always nice to they gave birth to you and they raised you. You may not have the
Yeah.
best relationship with them, but at least see them. So
Yeah,
one of the
definitely.
holidays, right? Thanksgiving, in my opinion, Christmas is my family time.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is just food. Wherever you can get food, cook something with friends, with family, it doesn't matter who. And then New
Mhm.
Year's should be celebrated with friends because drinking.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Thanksgiving now doesn't even have like the same like importance that it used to, just because everyone's like fucking shopping now. And then like Christmas is definitely more along the lines of like you spend it with your family, but then New Year's is like I'm gonna go party because like it's a new year, and
Yeah.
you know, yeah. At least that's how I kind of perceive it now.
New Year's, man. Gotta do it. That's all I'd say. All
Yeah.
right.
So we did get some comments on our videos. There weren't like too many like trivial messages or like shout outs that we got, but I did want to give a shout out to Kevin, who's always watching our videos and like telling us about how much he loves DJ Talks and how he wants to be the first guy to comment on all of our videos. Honestly, like it sounds really cheesy, but that means a lot. I think it's really cool that we have someone that's like really supporting our work. That's really nice. And then I also had a friend message me, and she said that she really appreciated that like we were talking about like more personal stuff. Every now and then, even though like some more recent episodes were like kind of trolly. For our Pokemon episode, I had a couple guys message me and tell me that like they really enjoyed a lot of our conversation. That we hit the nail on the head in terms of like how you felt about different generations, and like it was kind of just fun for them to hear about our experiences with the game. So I'm really glad that was well received. I thought it was kind of troll that we went on for like over an hour just talking about fucking Pokemon games, but
my
I mean it was fun as hell to talk about. So
hour and 15 minutes.
yeah,
what I gotta
that's
say.
a long
Hour and
time,
15
man.
minutes. It's a long time.
And honestly, like if you and I weren't getting tired, I feel like we could have kept going. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so many games that we could have like we didn't even touch. We just hit like all the main ones per se. Oh, and by the way, my dumbass fell on my hand earlier this morning. So like I I was late to work and I was like running out of my house and I tripped and fell and I caught myself on concrete and I think the phrase word is road rash. So just like really scraped it now. So if you see it looks a lot worse than it really is, but I just realized that was on camera. I tried not to show it, but I talk with my hands a lot, so I'm okay. That's kind of weird that I total tangent, but
Okay.
anyway, yeah, thanks for the comments, guys. We really do appreciate the support, and this is going to be technically the last episode of 2017. The next time an episode goes live, it'll be 2018, which is really exciting, and that'll be our 25th episode. So we might do something cool for that. Who knows? I know Dan and I have been talking about, like maybe recording together in real life, so maybe we could eventually make that happen. I don't know. That'd be dope.
Oh boy. Woo!
Yeah, that'd be hype.
I mean, there's another comment from I think one of your friends as well, Kyle. He
Yeah.
talked about Ruby Sapphire, as well as Sun and Moon. So
Oh, did he really comment?
he did comment on our video. Look at this guy. He's not even looking at our video.
Oh, he did. Well, I actually didn't realize. Oh, technically we uploaded this yesterday, and today we're recording, so I didn't actually get a chance to see it yet. But yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, Ruby and Sapphire has a special place in his heart. So I personally did not get that transition between those two, but it's a good game. I'd say it's a good game too. But yeah, definitely Sun and Moon has all of the new, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon has some of the new and improved user-friendly system.
Yeah, so let's go through the comments real quick. So Kevin said that my mic seems good. That's good because my older one was pretty boosted. Or it wasn't that bad, but sound wasn't as good. And his favorite was Pokemon Y because of the clothes, shopping, and hairstyles. That's actually something I really like about Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Like you can customize the look of your trainer, like get your hair dyed and like get your color lens changed. I really like that a lot.
So there is actually it was like $2.4 million is the most expensive outfit in the actual game.
Yeah.
I was sitting there. Wow, that's
it's
crazy.
Expensive.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to get it because I want to farm to a point where I can like buy it in game, and I don't want to like hack or like cheat or anything. So,
but it looks kind of shitty, man. Damn.
You talking about the well, it's a Komodo outfit, right?
Yeah, it looks so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's troll. I feel like the idea of just buying it would be dope,
Just super expensive, but yeah.
Yeah. And then Kyle said that like the original games like Red, Blue, Yellow, and Ruby, Sapphire, like Dan said, has a special place. Sorry, I definitely agree about the original games. Like I replay them like every now and then, and I still really enjoy them. As for Ruby, Sapphire, I know a lot of people play that because those were, I think we talked about it last time, but those are the first like big titles on the Game Boy, right? So I feel like just that transition, or not to the Game Boy, to the Game Boy Advance. So I feel like that was a pretty pivotal point in handheld gaming history. So I can see why that was like a really big step, and also just the generation had a ton of cool Pokemon. So,
SP, that was the huge thing.
It's the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Advance SP. That's right.
The SP was huge because of the backlight. So
yeah, that's true.
Made gaming under your bed a lot easier.
Actually, so true though. Like hiding under your blanket from your parents.
But yeah, thank you everyone for your comments. We really enjoy reading them and seeing your opinions.
Yeah. But if you want more about Pokemon, check out our last episode. This week, we're going to talk about something totally out of left field, and it's about credit cards. So I was scrolling through my just some news articles, and I saw an article about the future of credit cards and how it's likely that in the next couple of years, credit cards are going to leave the world, or not like leave, but like they're not going to be relevant anymore, and that is in direct correlation to the growth of electronic forms of payment. Um, you know, it doesn't necessarily refer to cryptocurrency and how it's used, but just the different ways that we can transfer funds and how that's regulated in terms of like how you pay vendors, how you pay your friends, how you manage your money in general, since online bank is also really big. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess, the state of how we feel about credit cards now. I actually wanted to start by sharing a story about my like a recent credit card fraud incident that I had, and then we'll go into like some of the other like ideas of how money is being transferred now in terms of electronic payments, and then like what we think about the future. But yeah, so recently I just got back from a trip from Salt Lake City a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't doing anything crazy with my credit card. I recently applied for a new one, and it was approved, and I got it stuff. That was awesome. But then I noticed that there were some like weird charges on my account for Redbox, that DVD rental service that I actually used to use like a decent amount. But that was on a much older card with a different number. So I saw that the Redbox charges. I'm like, what the hell? Why am I being charged for whatever this is? Like, what's going on? I haven't like gone to Redbox in forever. So I had to like cancel my meetings that they had, like a bunch of work meetings. I was like, all right, this is important. Someone's got my credit card number because I haven't used my card. They have to have been using my number. So I called the bank and I was like, hey, I don't know what this is, but like, I want to report these charges as fraud and I need a new card. So, Chase was really good about it. It was really easy. And they sent me a new card. But then I asked them like, how did they enter the card? Or how did they use my card or my account for payment when I've never used that card at a Redbox station before? And they said, they entered the number in manually. They were able to see that's how it was paid. So that means that someone out there has my credit card number with like the expiration date, the little security code on the back, and my zip code. Those are all like, various combination numbers that I know you need for a credit card. And so I'm like, that's pretty scary because I haven't actually used that card at a Redbox, like I said. So, I immediately got a new one, and Chase was really good about just like killing the Redbox charges and saying like, oh, this was fraudulent behavior and that it wasn't me. So, I think it's really interesting because like there was a huge Equifax leak that happened, like over the past year, right? What did it happen like? I don't remember exactly.
Past summer, I believe.
Yeah.
So within this past year, Equifax got hacked, I think, twice. I think once was the initial big thing, and then there was a second time as well. But yeah, they leaked things like social security numbers, personal information, addresses, everything you can think about. So people got very scared at that and froze. Either froze or did things rashly, or but if they ever do decide to use any of that information, that would be very, very terrible. Or the entire U.S. So
because they could use like your social security numbers and like take your identity and apply for as much credit as they'd like.
Yeah,
that could eventually that could potentially like ruin your credit. Even like years down the line, you have to like really keep your eyes on it.
Yeah, with credit cards nowadays, there are so many fraudulent areas, right? So you hear of like credit or card readers, card scanners that in places like gas stations or gas station pumps or even ATM machines, any of that stuff, where they actually seen a lot of these things on Reddit where they attach this device onto the ATM reader or the card reader's area on an ATM or the gas station, and it actually physically reads the card and all the information on it, necessary. So there are a lot of those types of things. There was a huge one that happened at a CVS
Hmm.
recently in a decent neighborhood. So it's not like, yes, fraud is just advancing. People are finding more and more ways to steal as much information as possible, especially with the digital and electronic world we live in.
So then that kind of leads me to my first question. Then, do you feel that credit cards are secure enough to where we could feel safe about how we use it, or do we always like should we be in the mindset that we always have to like watch out for our stuff, or like is it not really as safe as we believe it is? What do you think?
Security wise, I think no matter what happens, no matter what type of payment or transfer system we use, there will always be fraud. If it's not a credit card or a physical credit card, it will be some type of form of accessing your online login for some way, some reason, somehow. People will think of new and clever, innovative ways to steal your information. So I feel like no matter what, there is always going to be fraud. But with credit cards, people are, or physical cards, people are a little bit more careless than if it was something like online login, username, password.
Hmm.
Um, just because a physical card can always be lost. It can always be shown around or flung around, and people can actually copy it. But it's a little bit, I think, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult to steal things like usernames and passwords while you're using it, right?
Hmm.
Um, but who knows? There's always advancements in every type of field and area, and I guess fraud is one of them, and hacking and whatever systems they can use in order to steal that. So.
I actually remember. I don't remember who it was or where I read it, and I don't know if it's true or not. But there's an article that came up about how Nintendo wanted people to like hack the Switch and see if they would be able to like get in and like mess with the software, and that they would pay
Mhm.
Nintendo would pay you to do it. I don't remember if that was really true or not. I thought that was just interesting that that was like something else floating around.
No, there. I mean, big companies do pay hackers to hack into their systems to
Mhm.
find the weak spots or the weak points or any area there. So yeah, I mean, I can for sure see that being a very real story.
Mhm.
I know. I mean, that's why they have things like hackathons and those types of things, and people are professionally paid to, and they're professional hackers. They get paid to hack a system, um, and that's a smart business choice by all the big companies. If they can have access to someone like that, pay
Mhm.
somebody. Um, yeah, that's huge nowadays with the electronic system. So,
Mhm.
but I mean, credit cards are great and bad. There's so many different aspects of it. Electronically, right now, as of now, there's no way to physically pay a merch or electronically pay a merchant
Mhm.
yet. As
Yeah, there aren't
in,
many ways to do so that are like
mhm,
widespread, I guess.
right, like grocery stores or anything like that. But I have heard in China they have actually had things like WeChat. Yeah, the chatting system where they use it everywhere and they can actually pay for things with the WeChat.
Hmm.
I think that is super interesting. Everything almost is done through WeChat. Their chatting, their payment, their like IDs or whatever it is. I think
Their
that's
social media is
yeah.
like, yeah, WeChat's a big social media platform for them as well.
Hmm. Um, I do think yes, it would be so much easier. I wouldn't say that. Okay, credit cards are quick, cheap, and easy. Electronic
Hmm.
systems and payments where you have to have something like a phone to pay. You know how some areas can, some places can actually scan things like Starbucks. You can add money into your card on your phone through your app, and then you can scan to make payments without
Right.
having a physical card.
Hmm.
So, but you have to have your phone as well. Credit cards are another way, a cheap way to, I guess, make payments.
Yeah. So I guess with credit cards, like, no, yeah, that makes total sense. So like, I mean, in my opinion, I think credit cards are naturally always going to be insecure. Just the effect that someone could take your, like, there is a physical opportunity for someone to steal your credit card number is huge, and that that's something that a lot of people try to protect themselves from. Like a really easy example of that is I have this like little thin wallet thing that I like kind of carry with me if I don't want to carry my wallet with. But because the material is so thin, I have to make sure that my credit card is facing backwards, because if it was up, the imprint of the number would show up. So I'm just worried that like someone might be able to read it. Just little things like that, I think people should be conscious of. Which is a big reason why I hated the idea of wallet phone cases. I think they're extremely convenient, and it's really nice to have everything in one place where like you open up your phone, you pull out your ID, you pull out your credit card, you pull out cash, you pull out like your freaking arcade game card or whatever it is that you have. And then your phone's right there too, so it's like just really easy to have everything in one place, right? But then you lose that, you're fucked, and you know you're down like your $1,000 phone, your all your credit cards and your IDs. Like it just seems so risky to do that, and so I think that like right now credit cards are extremely useful. That's true, and it kind of worries me that people like use them all the time and kind of rely on them more so than not. Which I can see why other big countries still see cash to be king as opposed to electronic payment. But I think you bring up a really interesting point, Dan, that people are finding ways, or like merchants are finding ways to make it easy for them to be electronically paid as opposed to having to go through like the credit card cash sort of thing. Even checks back then that used to be really big. Dude, the other day I was at Binny's with some friends and we were just buying some drinks, and this lady took like 20 minutes to like write a check and get a transaction through, and the cashier actually had no idea how to take the check because that's not something that's like really popular. They have to call like a supervisor over and like have it all sorted out and like make sure that they like see make check that the check was legit. So it's like holy crap! Like I should have gotten in a different like
Like,
yeah.
was this an older person?
Yeah, she was much older, but
Alright.
but yeah, I mean like even checks are obsolete. Like most places don't even take checks anymore. But I remember like when I was young, I would go to Jewel Osco and my mom would buy groceries and she would write a check. So I mean that used to be a thing. But it's really interesting now to see NFC payment getting really popular. And I don't know that I know that a lot of people will not be familiar with what I mean by NFC payment. But as soon as I say words like Samsung Pay or Apple Pay or Android Pay, people know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's just the idea that your phone can release a near field communication signal, NFC, that's a wireless, really close to your device, and it'll emit the signal or replicate the magnetic transaction or swipe of a credit card. That's how Samsung Pay works. I'm not too familiar with how like Apple Pay works. I just think it's really funny that it's really like easy for people to say things in a way where like I'm gonna use I'm paying with Apple Pay, which is technically correct for like the grand scheme of things. It's not like it's technically NFC Pay. I'm just being really nitpicky. That's just a little thing, but like I guess that is a form of electronic payment that isn't as widely accepted yet. So what these companies have actually done, I'm just going to use Samsung Pay as an example because I'm more familiar with it, is that the technology that Samsung Pay uses is supposed to replicate the sensor that a credit card reader gets and recognizes when a physical card is swiped, but it does that without the card. So the idea is that Samsung Pay should be compatible with any credit card readers or any reader that takes a credit card, no matter how old it is. That's not always the case. Some of them are like some credit card readers are like integrated into PCs. So like the monitor that's like a touch screen will have like a credit card reader attached to it or like built into it. So those are like a little harder to use. But if it's like a separate credit card reader that you often see at like a grocery store or something, it's really easy to just like put your phone up to it, pay, and move on. And I did that for a while. It was really easy to do at like grocery stores, at some restaurants that are like more to go and at least had a credit card reader there, like Starbucks. I know we keep going back to that as the example, but But like I mean, like you said, not every place will take it, and you know, especially if you go to a place like Chinatown, for example, most of the time they're not even gonna take credit cards; they're gonna want cash only, right?
Right.
Um,
I mean, so overall, what I'm thinking here is that physical credit cards are making their way out, but electronic credit cards are kind of making their way in.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, there still could be a process of applying and getting approved for a credit card, but all you would technically need is the number, the security code, and the expiration date, and you're good. You scan
Mhm.
it into your phone, and boom, you have payments everywhere. I think that would be very cool, very convenient. But at the same time, if you lose your phone, that sucks. Whereas if
Yeah,
you lose your credit card, just replace it quickly.
that's true. I mean, like I was able to call the bank and say like, here, it was literally a Sunday afternoon. I called them. I'm like, yo, someone's using my shit. Like, stop, stop them, please. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And then they guaranteed that I was gonna have my new credit card in by Tuesday, which was yesterday as of recording this.
Mhm.
So I mean, they were able to get a 48-hour turnaround, and I was able to get a new card and able to stop it right away. Whereas like with a phone, right, that's a little harder because like I used my phone to call them. Like, what would I do if I
Right.
didn't have my phone?
Right. So losing your phone, getting a new phone, the process of getting that as well. How many business days? How many days you actually will it take? How can you transfer something over? Is there a way to do that? Well, I heard there were new innovations where you get like a microchip or something implanted into either somewhere finger where you can scan it in and scan
Don't
your.
some companies require you to do that?
I have absolutely no clue, but that would
Yeah,
be
some
so cool.
companies require you to do that because it's a security thing. So like you can get into like a building or a specific like office or room or something without risking access to someone else who might steal your key or might steal your card key or something. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
know
and
that
then
that's like a real thing,
they could track every single position you're at for the rest of your life. Oh my goodness, it's over.
which is pretty frightening. Yeah,
We're
to think
freaking
about.
screwed.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But yeah,
But
that's one way. Like they probably have come up with something. I think um they might be doing that where they can put it into a microchip and actually scan or swipe your card with your finger. And so I mean,
but I mean,
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead.
There's so many ways that we can improve on a credit card rather than having a physical card with you.
Hmm. No, yeah, that actually like directly relates to like my next point, which is if credit cards are no longer relevant or needed, then the need for a wallet will go down drastically, and eventually, I can see a world where like your phone is your wallet and you have everything that you need on there, or where you won't need to carry a wallet around anymore because you have everything that would have been in your wallet somewhere else. I I don't really see that happening in the near future per se. The article that I read was an editorial on CNBC, I think, and um, they said they could see it as soon as like 2 or 3 years. Personally, I don't see that happening. I think that there's a lot of security risks that come with that,
Mhm.
and there are a lot of different things that people use wallets for. Like they'll keep random like physical like items in there like coins or cash receipts, which will I mean you could eventually have all of that electronically,
Yeah.
but then there's also like IDs, business cards, membership cards from other companies or businesses or establishments. Just imagining to have all that electronically is very interesting because it just like goes back to the idea of like having your wallet in your phone, like a wallet phone case sort of thing, and like you have everything funneled into like one device and one thing, which just sounds so easy, but it's also really scary. Unless there is a really easy way for me to like call Chase to be like, "Yo, turn my electronic wallet off, shut that shit down because someone stole it or I lost it." Um,
So yeah, as with that, there will be precautions and backup securities put into place if something were to happen like that. So if they were to integrate credit cards and payment systems into a phone, I guarantee you companies will have a fail-safe backup plan in order for something like if you were to lose your phone, you can call this number to get rid of all of or clear wipe or wipe your phone.
right.
There will have to be something like that because at the end of the day, people are careless. Yes, there are very, very small situations um, where like a super amazing hacker or something that you know it scans your card through a satellite system. I don't know, whatever crazy systems that they can put in. But there will be those small little cases, but that's like point zero something percent of the time. The
I
majority
mean,
of the fraudulent cases I feel like are a little bit user error.
but then there's also the case where like, a company like Equifax just randomly gets fucked and then you lose so much information
Mhm.
for so many people that just like potentially fucks all of them over. And then like, I can see the scenario where we're in the future and we have our electronic credit cards with a lot of security and like you said, fail safes in place from these banks that are issuing cards electronically, or
Mhm.
if there are other organizations that are run, in such a way where maybe they regulate electronic credit cards. What if they get a data breach? It's almost like the idea that like your information isn't. It's not the question of whether or not your information will get stolen. It's when,
Mhm.
and it's frightening.
It is, but that's kind of like the Matrix or something. You don't know about the higher power, this like random weird system. You
Hmm.
just live your life normally, ignorant and blissful. In this case, I feel like ignorance is bliss. Let's be real. Come on.
I mean, to
You
some
are a
degree,
small person in a larger system in this gigantic world. Are they going to be targeting you? Maybe. Will they target you? Probably not. Will they steal your information? Maybe. Yeah, I think so. But are they going to use it? That's like a tough thing to say where they can actually do. I mean, maybe at one point somebody is going to leak every single piece of information. US is going to crash a little bit. We're all going to go into an oblivious or not oblivious crazy fearful period of time and it's going to get over cuz everybody's going to know what to do.
yeah. But I mean, like with the future of credit cards specifically, I think that they're still going to be used for a while as people
Mhm.
transition away from credit cards. Where we still saw people using checks a lot when like credit cards are picking up, but then the convenience of them just spoke for itself. And I think that when people see the convenience of being able to pay with electronic wallets everywhere, that'd be
Mhm.
really nice. Even though that would require like companies and establishments to be able to like pick up on that, or for technology to be able to be used in compatibility with them. Like the idea of Samsung Pay or other NFC payment methods being able to communicate with old card readers, I think is phenomenal. But um, eventually it'd be really nice if we were able to like. I know that it was a really popular thing in Tokyo where I saw people like paying to get on the trains just with their phones, like just put their phone near it, and they just kept walking instead of like having to pull out a card, scan it, and then get through the turnstile. So,
Mhm.
I mean, there are a lot of benefits to it. And I think that it would be really nice just to have everything. Like, I mean, we kept talking about like in the central location, but um, there's also just the fact that like credit cards are just kind of cool to have. Like the motion of swiping is just cool. And people enjoy that. And then you like fuckers like me who like really like those metal credit cards, like that's become like even more popular. So the idea of having like a physical, really
Mhm.
nice, sturdy, card, I think is really also very attractive to a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. At the end, I don't know. Credit cards, they're good, they're great, but I feel like electronic credit cards eventually would be the best.
mhm.
So
So
you don't have
then that
to.
kind of leads us to the next idea, right? Where um, you talked earlier about how it's really easy to pay your friends electronically, but then it's not as easy to pay merchants electronically.
Mhm.
Do you think that? I mean, since it's been getting more popular as of the last couple of years, do you think that it's getting easier to, or that it'll eventually become the standard, just pay each other back? Like, I'm just gonna wire you some money, no big deal. Or do you think that we'll still like see a mix of like paying with cash and or versus electronically? Or you see what I'm asking, or like what
I
I'm talking
mean,
about?
yeah, I think it's going to take so many more years in order to phase out all of the payment systems. Checks are still being used. You don't have to use them, but they're still being used. Cash, I don't think cash will disappear for quite a while.
Yeah, same.
And cards. So I feel like it probably will take like 10, 15 more years before all of, or even longer before every single payment system is actually gone
Hmm.
and all the new improvements. But at the end of the day, there are improvements to the system. Companies are slowly investing in newer payment devices in
Hmm.
order to accept things like Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, all of these pays. And that's what they need to do. It's the 21st century.
Hmm.
We need to get with the times.
No, I completely agree. Like, so it almost sounds like what you're suggesting is something I was thinking of, which is standardizing payment methods in a way where like it's easily accessible for everybody. So, like,
Mhm.
for example, right now, if you want to pay your peers back, you ask them a variety of questions. Do you have Venmo? Do you have PayPal? Do you have Chase QuickPay? Do you have like Zelle or whatever it is that you use to like
Mhm.
send money to someone instantly and electronically, right? Eventually, I feel like those avenues have to be, closed down a little bit. So it's easier. It's just convenient for us to like, oh, most people have like Visa gift cards and most people like, have a credit card or things like that, right? So I just feel like the similar idea of having like companies with credit card readers and consumers with credit cards will go along the lines like a couple of really popular avenues for people to pay each other electronically, and then
Mhm.
people that actually accept that sort of thing. So like but I don't like the idea of having like a couple of companies dominate the market where they're the only big ways to pay each other, because then you have big companies at Target that could like leak tons of information. But then we're also in this weird phase now where like if you don't have like one of the three or four that I listed above, then you won't be able to pay them back unless you have cash.
Mhm. Which is fine. Like I feel like it's because it's not popular enough right now and not every single person is using it. But our generation is the generation that uses everything like this. Any type of transfer system, we do. But the adults or the generation before us, or even before them, are still on the older systems as well. Until all of them pass away and move forward, we become the new top or oldest generation or something. Until then, I feel like all of this system is still gonna go. So
Hmm.
you can't have a standardized location or system until even then. Man, there's so much to think about. Even then, after that, there's going to be new systems coming into play with
Yep.
newer generations. So I don't think there's ever a way where everything can be kind of under one type of payment system.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's kind of
just
weird
due
to
to
think about.
so.
And even like now, I'm sure like you and I have like PayPal accounts, Venmo accounts, whatever, and like
Hmm.
just thinking about it, it's almost like you have money hidden all over your room. Like you have money in all of these places. Like I have a little bit of money in my PayPal, I have some money in my Venmo, I've got money in my Chase bank account. If I use like another payment service and I have like credit there, then I've got money sitting there. Or like back to like the idea of cryptocurrency, like that's like money sitting in a cloud somewhere, that's like
Hmm.
encrypted on your virtual wallet, right? So it's like it's really easy kind of to have money everywhere right now. It's kind of interesting to think about.
I do like the innovations though.
Hmm.
New innovations, cooler innovations, and then the more a phone is going to be used, people are gonna the more people are gonna actually invest into things like batteries and making sure that batteries on phones last and batteries on everything last longer.
Hmm.
So that'll be better for me because I love using my phone.
And even then, I don't even know if we can call these things phones anymore. Like, who actually is spending the majority of the time on this thing using it as a phone? Most of the time, people are like just doing other shit on here, which is
Hey.
totally fine. But like, it's kind of weird, right, to call it a phone when we don't use it
Mhm.
as a phone as its
Fine.
primary
A
use.
smart device.
I'm not saying it's wrong to call it a phone. I just think it's another interesting question that I thought of.
There you go.
Um, yeah,
I
but
it's good. It's bad. It's you always have to keep up with the new innovations, otherwise you'll fall behind and Companies will change, and you're gonna be that one old person at Benny's in line writing a check.
That was
One day.
actually so painful to watch. I'm just like, holy hell! And then she had to like do all this stuff to like make sure that it was her checkbook and her bank. I don't know, man. It was
I'm telling
ugh,
you, one day you're gonna be that one old dude in line with a credit card.
waiting for it to swipe my credit card.
They're
Ugh.
gonna be like, "What the heck? Why don't you use your finger?"
That might we might live to see that day. You know, who knows?
hmm
All right, Dan. Do you have any last thoughts?
You know what? That is it. That is good. It was a very rumbly, rambly, jumble mix of things, but
Yeah,
we got our point across there.
yeah, um, yeah. I guess that was yeah. I don't really know what else to say. We were like pretty all over the place, but it was kind of fun addressing some of those topics and raising
Mhm.
those questions. If you guys have any like suggestions or even opinions about our topic, like was there something that we didn't address that you would have liked to hear about? What are your personal thoughts on like funneling everything into like an electronic wallet, or like Dan talking about like our fingers being our wallets and like a potential future where like pay with our like index finger or something, or your thoughts in general about like the use of credit cards, fraudulent risks and things like that. By all means, share your opinions because like this is something that I think is really interesting. I know Dan finds it interesting as well. And any random thoughts are more than welcome. But with that being said, Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching, and you'll see us next year.
Hold up. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy whatever you celebrate.
Whatever
There
you
you go.
celebrate.
And you'll see us next year.